Let's see. Hopefully it goes live. It doesn't. Hey, there we go. It's July 22nd, 2019. This is Atlanta United FC Weekly, a Home Before Dark podcast. Kevin's not here to toot.
Well done.
Yeah. I am Tim Herbin. I'm usually joined by Kevin Bradley, but I have two fantastic gentlemen joining me tonight in lieu of Kevin. We have Payson Schwin over here.
Payson
to my left, and Payson. We have Joe Patrick, the familiar face, all things Atlanta sports.
Yeah. I was on the show. I'm becoming a regular here.
Yeah.
Just did a show a few weeks ago, so this is fun.
To the point where Pirlo still like violently tries to attack you. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in on this wonderful Monday evening. Sorry that we weren't able to record last week. We are back to a regular recording schedule. Kevin is, as I said, is not here. Death in the family. He's traveling back, so send him your well wishes. And he'll be back in studio next Monday. But tonight, we got you guys.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's I would brag more about being in here over Kevin, but it's death in the family.
That's not that's classless, Joe.
Yeah,
classless.
Yeah.
It's you definitely pour yourself a bigger glass than he does. I think we can throw that in his face.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I hope. Yeah, I guess. It is on the
LA.
West Coast.
I said that a few hours ago too.
Yeah. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, make sure that you guys hit the subscribe button, notification bell icon, smash the like button so that everybody else gets a notification. Come join us. And how you guys feeling after that game yesterday? Obviously, you had to clench and hold yourself for two hours in the press box.
Well, Payson knows what it's like having to when a late goal happens,
It's
especially
tough.
when it changes the result. Yeah, it's like you have to totally scramble
Because you've already written maybe your lead. You've already gotten some input from editors or whatever, and then you got to scramble and rewrite your whole article.
Right.
So
yeah,
I feel your pain.
Luckily, I had Charlie Boehm yesterday, and he was just like, whatever,
Dude. Just write what you want.
He's the best editor I have. But it was a fun game. I thought that since this whole formation change to the 3-5-2, things have been fun again. It feels like attacking and
that's what I don't understand is like over the past 3 years, I feel like we have this conversation every year when we switch to the 3-5-2. It's like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
we're doing well. Why do we? And everybody's like, we need to go back to the 4-back. And by everybody, I mean Josh Bagransky. And I don't know why, just because of the personnel, but having the 3-back between Escobar, because Escobar is obviously like more naturally a right center back, right? From his days in Argentina. But and I love him on the wing, but at the same time, having Gressel on a right wing back I think it's a little invaluable.
Yeah.
I think that's where he's best deployed, obviously, is on the wing. But if you're able to put three, when you have LGP playing like he did yesterday, it's going to through that defense, especially the way Miles Robinson's been playing, and then putting Franco Escobar back there, having the three of them kind of just anchor that defense.
To me, that's where it all starts, is at the back with this back three. I feel like it gives a lot of the other players on the team like a platform to feel like they can be more aggressive and push up the field, because they know that there's an extra center back there to cover for mistakes. And especially, like Miles Robinson is kind of playing that middle center back role, and he's kind of like the guy who cleans up all the mistakes. He can just like sweep up behind essentially. And it allows, a Leandro Gonzalez-Perez or a Franco Escobar to push up and almost become like yesterday in the second half, those players were almost like auxiliary midfielders. Like they were not really doing the job of a defender as much as they were doing a job of like a defensive midfielder, kind of recycling the ball.
Yeah, and what you saw last week, Wednesday, midweek against Houston, you saw like Parker's making runs, and this time you see Escobar moving up. So you can have these guys make runs out of the back too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're not worried because Miles is so super athletic. He can catch up to any ball that's played over the top or whatever. So you don't necessarily have to worry about it. And it just gives that something that FDB wants, which is the runners through, creates mismatches, confuses the defense, and it's just working out to perfection right now.
Yeah.
He's talked a lot about like the runners. That's like something he's talked about all season, is having these guys make runs. And again, he said it after the I guess it was after the Houston game, because I had asked him about Parkhurst making those runs, because mainly just because I thought it was funny to see Parkhurst like
get on
chugging
the
it up the
offensive
field.
Yeah, it is a little weird. He's definitely better at a left center back or a left,
Yeah.
in a back three than he is a left
It
back.
was hilarious, like seeing him get up in the box, and anyway,
him playing right back too. Yeah, it's weird.
But DeBoer says, like, yeah, you want him to make that run, because not necessarily because he's going to get the ball, but he's going to attract someone. And then the second guy who makes a run is more open to receive it. And, that's how Darlington scored that goal against Houston, was, some guys had made runs in front of him, and it had occupied defenders, and the ball just came right to him, and he was able to score. And, I think we've continued to see that work to a very good effect over, these last two games. So,
and even this past match, Frank DeBoer mentioned Emerson Hyndman making a run like that. On the penalty, you'll see Emerson run this way, kind of takes away a defender. Joseph runs this way, gets the ball played to him, and earns a penalty out of that, because the defense is scrambling. Who do I cover here? So that's kind of FTB's game plan, is to get those runners through to take people off of Joseph. Because when you saw at times in the previous few matches, when there's 2 or 3 guys on him, he's doing everything he can to get a shot off.
Yeah.
But if he can get the ball 1-on-1, 1-on-2, lights out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I retweeted Jarrett Smith, who he kind of pointed out another one. The goal that Pitti scored was Joseph made a near post run, and he attracts literally the entire DC back line with him, and there's nobody there to cover Pitti. That's why he was so wide open.
I saw like a really smarmy remark or snarky remark about PD's goal is like, oh wow, finally we have a $17 million man can score a header from 2 feet out. But that run that he makes, and it's positional awareness. You can't. That's what you pay for, right? I mean, that's part of what you pay for.
And I think he got a lot of respect from like his teammates for making that run and putting himself in that position, because he's been a guy so far where we've seen him kind of want to stick around the edge of the box, create, try to, play people through or whatever. But, Julian pointed it out in the post-game comments. He was like, he went in there where it hurts. Like, it hurts to go in there sometimes.
Yeah, he went a little bit like this, but I mean, he put his body in danger.
Yeah. You're going up, you're getting in the mixer where the goalkeeper could clatter you, and I think that earned him a lot of respect, because of the type of player he is, this very high valued kind of diminutive playmaker type. To go in there and get stuck in, I think he earned a lot of credibility.
Yeah, I think so too, and hopefully from the fans too. One thing that I'm happy to see, we talked about the booing early on in the season, not with him, but more with Breck Shea whenever he would come in and substitute. Yeah, I mean, you're in my section.
They boo. Yeah, the guy behind me, he's like, Breck Shea. He's just all about that guy.
There's some good old boys like a couple rows down from me that are just
nothing wrong with good old boys.
Nothing wrong with
out there.
What section are you guys in?
120.
120. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, I can play better than Breck Shea. It's like shit, but it's literally that. Like, he's like, we got to put somebody in for Breck Shea, and I look back and we're just like, I have a dearth of options. And I'm like, for who? Who's coming in? He's like, literally anyone. Who? That's not an answer. Like,
there's no one left.
Yeah.
There's no one left on that bench.
Alec Can.
Yeah. Alec Can. That's actually a discussion I want to get into later. The
really?
not Can Guzan. No, we've beaten that horse of a joke into the ground. But no, but I am glad to see whenever PD comes on that the crowd still erupts. Like, they're still
I was happy to see that.
Yeah, like they still have a lot of faith in him. He earned a lot of respect from me. Like, I haven't lost faith in the guy. I feel like there's so much expectation coming into this team. We saw it with Barco last year. Not everybody's going to hit on all cylinders like Almiron and like Joseph did immediately coming into this team, into this league. I mean, he came in expecting one thing. He gets another with the formation, new manager, and just such big expectations levied on him that, I mean, he's going to come good. I mean, you see the quality in him. I think it's a matter of maybe finally finding that spot for him. And I feel like Emerson Hyndman on the field is going to open up PD to do a lot more.
I agree. If Emerson Hyndman can stay on the field, like, it's so the options that Frank DeBoer is going to have when all these players get healthy is kind of crazy to wrap your head around. And, I hope Emerson Hyndman does stay on the field. I think he's been like exactly what Atlanta was missing in a midfield trio. But to get back to kind of the pity point, I think that, I think we're seeing him start to come around. And it's funny how he's been through almost these same exact things at some of his other clubs that he's been through. And sometimes, you just kind of need these hard moments to fight through, and then you kind of, you come out on the other side of them in a much better way. And, you kind of have to earn your stripes in some respect. And I think that he's kind of gone through, some of these struggles that have kind of helped him come to like a reality that this isn't just going to be a walk in the park, in MLS, and he's going to get kicked by Ivy League graduates and, all these types of things.
Yeah, and part of it is you're starting to see it a little bit, but Barca, when he first got here, he dribble around, hold the ball too long,
he was great laterally, but
great lateral, and then
Yeah.
you get touched and fall down and expect a call, because I'm sure in Argentina the referees maybe are a little bit better than they are in MLS. But here in MLS, as you could see yesterday, people were getting hacked around the field and nothing was getting called.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to adjust to that. He's got to adjust to a new, as we said ad nauseum, but a new culture. Argentina to Atlanta, not easy. Teammates who don't necessarily all speak Spanish, a coach who obviously wants him to put in a work rate that he's not quite used to. So I think he'll come good. But going back to Emerson, like once Barco's back, do you put him in for Emerson?
Right.
That's actually one of the questions in the trap. I mean, Joe Johnstone says, I want to see the Dream 11 if everyone is healthy in formation. He's like asking our thoughts once everybody is healthy. That is a contingent or whatever, hypothetical, right? Because, one guy gets a knock, one guy comes back. Like that's bound to happen. But I mean,
and it's an interesting one because I mentioned this earlier in our Dirty South Soccer writers room earlier today, where I feel like it's one of those things similar to last year where your most talented 11, like your 11 with the most quality players on the field, might not be the 11 that is able to get you results. Like last year we saw it with Barco. Like the team just functioned better without trying to shoehorn Barco into the starting 11. And I think that, I think we're kind of at that point now with like, is it worthwhile to shoehorn Barco and Pitti and, Emerson Hyman, like all these players?
And Villalba once he's back.
I mean,
where's the forgotten
does
man?
anyone remember where he plays, where he's going to play? I mean, he's a second striker, right? I guess.
Yeah.
But where's he going to fit once everyone's
inverted
healthy?
winger, non-inverted winger?
I mean,
right back.
I think he'll have to come off the bench, but it's funny that you mentioned that because I recorded Five Strike Final last night with my partner J. Sam Jones, and we did the whole show. And then afterwards, I texted him. I was like, "Oh, hey, we totally forgot to even mention Tito Villalba in our whole conversation
poor guy.
about players coming back." So, these are going to be tough decisions that Frank de Boer has to make. And the thing that kind of intrigues me about it is that what he's shown so far in his Atlanta United tenure is he's not afraid to make these tough decisions and, leave big players on the bench if he feels like that's what needs to happen. So
he left PT on the bench for Brandon Vasquez.
Yes.
Which was, I don't disagree necessarily because he puts in the work, but he's not technically as gifted, but he's willing to make that choice. So we can see he's not afraid to keep Pitti on the bench. He's probably not afraid to keep Barco on the bench.
Yeah.
If that comes to that, but I wouldn't put Barco on the bench, but if he thinks that's the best lineup for the team, then he'll go with it.
Yeah. Say what you will about Brandon Vasquez. His work rate is pretty phenomenal.
It is.
Like
it's awesome.
He runs his ass off. He did get a little lost in the game yesterday.
Yeah.
The ball gets under his feet at occasion.
Right.
I mean, that's going to happen when you're 6 foot, whatever, 6'4" or whatever he is.
Yeah.
And runs like a gazelle.
He had a really nice combination early in the game with Joseph. Just like them playing a little back and forth with each other into the box. And
Joseph gave him a little bit of nice job.
Yeah.
He wasn't yelling at me. I must have been doing something good.
Right, exactly.
So I guess to get back to that Dream 11, I mean, if all things considered, everybody's healthy, because you're not just talking about bringing in like for like substitutions or even from a formation standpoint. George Bello gets healthy, is your best option at left back, but you don't really have a left back anymore, right? You're playing a left wing back. Granted, we did see yesterday, maybe that's not the best position for Justin Merrim. Maybe that is where Bello fits back in. I mean, we're talking still another 2 weeks, another week and a half, probably until George Bello is back into the 18.
No, I think maybe 2 weeks before he starts with playing with Atlanta United too. Yeah, and then maybe once after he gets some minutes there, maybe then he starts to make 18s. I think he's still quite a bit away. Like Frank de Boer was talking about just like what he needs to build up to kind of get back to his physical level. And he said like even just like when he passes the ball on the ground, it's like just like the ball doesn't come with enough pace, and like when he crosses it, it's just like, his legs just aren't kind of built up,
Just
He's
crazy
got
'cause
wobbly legs.
He
now.
got so bulky
Yeah,
during
I
the
mean,
offseason.
right.
It's like, I almost wonder if that played into his injury, right? It's a muscle injury, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a groin injury.
Yeah.
Adductor, I think is what it was. Don't ask me where that is or,
One's,
any of the physiology.
Can you
one's
show
on,
me?
One's on the left. One's on the left side of your. Yeah, show me on me where this is. It's like abductors on what inside,
Yeah.
adductors on the outside, one or the other.
Yeah.
It's
Either
the
way.
medical podcast.
Yes, we usually have that happen. Mo Adams is another call out too.
Oh, Mo Adams. Mo.
I mean, I know my dream 11 would be basically the three that you had at the back last night, Gressel on the right, Bello on the left. I would have, honestly, my dream 11 is that same central three midfielders, Remedi, Nagby, and Emerson Hyndman, and Barco and Joseph.
Wow,
up
PT
top.
on the
And
bench.
That's the team that I think would work the best. Like if you had to beat LAFC in the MLS Cup final, that's the team I would put out there.
Yeah, just throw a goon out there
Right now.
Throw a goon out there, John Chaney style, just to throw elbows and break guys' faces. Yeah,
And
that's
then
why you
PT
beat
as a
LAFC.
super sub. I can see
I
that.
guess. Yeah. I mean, I would love to put him in the lineup, but I just don't know where to put him. And I mean, I guess if you were to play him and Barco in the same team, you have to be in a back four.
You have to move, or you move it. Could you move Emerson out and put Barco in there?
Yeah,
and Pitti is the second forward.
You could do that. I just wonder if you were to swap out Barco for Hyndman, like how much control of midfield do you lose? Because then are you playing just the 3-4-3 that we played to start the season? That was what that was. That was just was two central midfielders with Barco, Pitti, and Joseph up top. So you can adjust on the whiteboard, where they're supposed to, you can tell them where they're supposed to play, but at the end of the day, it's kind of the same personnel and they're going to want to try to do the same things when they're on the field. So I would prefer another guy like Emerson Hyndman, who is a central midfielder and he knows he's a central midfielder and he can do that job and he can help you kind of win those battles in the middle of the park.
But I love having them together, but and this is another question I want to ask you guys. Do you see Emerson Hyndman as a replacement for Darlington Nagby?
Yes, I do.
I mean,
100%.
Yeah, they play that's the only thing I can think whenever I watch the two of them play. The close control, their ability to go in and out of lines, it's very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two guys on the pitch that I do not fear losing the ball. They're the guys I don't see turning the ball over, especially in tight spaces too. Does it become a little redundant, or is it a luxury to have both of them out on the field together? Because it is nice. I do like having Nagby a little further back. I mean, Hyndman was getting up a lot further up the field and in the 18 than Nagby was, as was his assignment. But
yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't know if that's, obviously tactically you're telling him push forward and get into the box as much as possible. But in Nagby, I don't think that's what he loves to do. He loves to go straight 18 to 18, gather the ball, move it around, circulate it. Whereas Hyndman seems, at least what we've seen, seems to be make more gashing runs, be more offensively inclined than maybe Nagby is.
Yeah.
But I think he can play that role. And once, sadly, Nagby's probably going to move on at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that. I mean, his contract's up. He's discussed moving to Columbus, of all places. And he wants to go back there. And then I think Emerson would be an ideal replacement. And he'll, I think, take more shots. He'll get forward more than Nagby does now. I need to see a little bit more to see if he's as smooth as Nagby is with controlling the ball, keeping possession no matter what kind of pressure's on him and that kind of thing. But
do we have a right of first refusal with him? Is it loan to buy with they can't take him back?
I think so.
Unless we decline to buy him.
That's what I understand.
I hope so. And I hope it's a Joseph situation, in the next, because he's hit the ground running. Granted, his fitness is not there. I think that he's still probably a couple games away from playing because he didn't play a full 90 again yesterday, did he?
Who?
Hyndman. Sorry, not talking about Nagby.
I don't remember.
Hyndman. I'm pretty sure Hyndman came out at the end of the game for Jeff, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Like for like.
Yeah.
It's interesting what you say about Nagby kind of not getting as far forward, because when he came to Atlanta United, I thought that's the kind of player he would be. And maybe he was more of that kind of player last year, but it's really interesting when you hear Frank talk about his central midfielders. He groups together Nagby and Remedi, they're the same, they play the same position kind of. And it makes me think, like he thinks of Nagbe as a defensive midfielder,
almost like
essentially.
a hybrid 6 and 8.
Yeah,
like, I mean, they play
like
almost play box to
a ball
box.
circulating defensive midfielder. You know, I like to think of midfielders as like sitters or runners, and so like he's kind of like a guy who's going to keep his position. It's interesting that De Boer seems to think of him like that, because that's not the way I've ever thought of Nagbe. Because you know, he was an attacking player at Portland,
which is hilarious.
He's been a winger in the past.
I'm sure you guys saw the whole who came onto the field and Petey gave him a note on the field. You guys have seen all those. Have you seen the memes and everything? One of them's that like heat chart that says from Caleb Porter, and it's just like his it's like one of the best midfielders in the world, and then what the fuck, what am I doing up here, like whenever it's push more advanced. I think that was kind of the thing, is like I don't think he ever wanted to play at an advanced role. Like he scored some wonder goals for Portland too.
He had some bangers, but
and I'm like,
and his coaches are always encouraging him to shoot more, but maybe that's just not his comfort zone.
One thing I will say, our resident Dr. Patrick Keenum, he says, I knew somebody would come in here with this. An abductor takes the limb away from the midline. The adductor pulls toward the midline. This doesn't mean anything to me. I don't know.
Still don't know.
Think of abducting a child from their parent.
See, now that is the kind of tip that I understand.
As a parent, you can
that
resonate
really gets
with
to
that. That's why,
What's wrong with you people?
It's when you take your kids to Chuck E. Cheese. No, we're getting away from this. So you said your dream 11, and I really do love that 3-5-2, or the whatever you want to call it, the 3 in the back. And I can't disagree with that lineup that you trotted out. It is tough for me. Because Remedi's one guy I don't think you can really replace, right? Like he's that engine right in the back of the middle that does all the dirty work that nobody else is going to do. It's either him or Jeff.
You could replace him. You could replace someone like Remedi in game if you're losing, you know, and chasing a goal. Then sure, you could remove him and you could try to get more attacking. But I mean, it's almost impossible in a 3-5-2. It's basically impossible to fit in. Well, it's not impossible, but you know, it's tough to fit in Pitti and Barco and Joseph and Emerson Hyndman. Like he's now factoring into this. I think, in my opinion, he should be kind of factoring into like kind of these must-start guys. On a very similar level.
Well, that's the hard thing too. Yesterday, I feel like Petey got a starting job back yesterday. I think it was awesome because just to go back to him and his character, like he could have easily become a petulant child whenever that spat in the media happened with he and De Boer, but he didn't. Like he turned it around. And like I have a lot of respect for that. I think that's awesome. I mean, work is work, and you know, I think it's just professional criticism, and he took it to heart, and I think that he's like turning it around.
I thought that whole thing, I thought he was quite professional with like his response to that. Pitti, you know, he didn't back down from the comments that he said. He was just like, when he talked to us, the media here, he was like, I didn't like what he said, and that's
I wish you'd talk to me first. All right, fair enough.
I think De Boer deserves a fair amount of criticism for being how he's been with the media, or like just like as open as he's been with in his press conferences this season.
He's very open with player criticism in a way that I don't remember Tata doing this. Do you? I mean,
no, definitely no.
I feel like he kept it behind closed doors more than even like with the Andrew Carlton thing.
Even with Carlton
for MLS Cup.
Yeah, and granted, Barco, he didn't say, he tried to disguise it as much as he could until Dirty South Soccer got
broke that story wide open.
No, but I mean, it is funny because De Boer said that Brandon Vasquez was a danger to the team.
It just must be a phrase he likes to use. I think it just means you're tired and you need to come out of the game.
That is what it means. That is what it means.
In I guess it's lost in translation. Maybe he doesn't understand that it means you're an awful player and you can't. I am scared of having you out there.
How much of that do you think comes from him being not that far removed from playing at such a high level too? Like that, like he feels not. I think he feels probably more as a peer to them, or not a peer. That it's not the term I'm thinking of, but he can relate to them more. And I don't know if he thinks maybe that tough love is something that resonates with him, and maybe that could resonate with his players. But
he has that young teacher energy. You know what I mean? Like I think he still does
texting the students.
And
He's hoping he doesn't get caught.
And I think he is. He's like, why aren't these guys as good as me? Come on, And I think you can see that with some of the great players who become managers. So I'm sure Zidane is like that, but he's coaching with the world's elite. So yeah, I think that's definitely a factor. And I think he's just a Dutch guy who's very straightforward. He's not going to hide anything. He puts it all out there and kind of doesn't seem to understand. The player might read that the next day and be quite upset, as Pitti was.
But it's apparently like one of their traits, like the Dutch traits, is to like be like this. Apparently,
yeah. I don't want to be stereotyped, but apparently Dutch people are just very straightforward and honest. They're not going to beat around the bush, and that's refreshing to a lot of people. But maybe to someone it's not, like Pitti.
Yeah, I was listening to there's this podcast it's called the Totally Football Show. It's British, and they're doing this like
it's James Richardson.
Yeah. And they're promoting a book by Michael Cox. Zonal marking is kind of his what he goes by online, and he has a book out, and he's kind of profiling like the evolution of soccer in all of these big countries in Europe, and one of them is the Netherlands. So he talks a lot about Louis van Gaal. It's funny actually, they talk about Louis van Gaal in their German episode because they're talking about Louis van Gaal at Bayern Munich, and then they kind of get into some of like his Dutch background, and they talk about the difference between Cruyff and Van Gaal was very stark because not in just generally the way they wanted their teams to look aesthetically, but it's more in the way that those two coached. And Van Gaal was like, Cruyff would give like kind of less instruction and let the players have more just like freedom, creativity to express themselves as they wanted to on the field, as to where Van Gaal was very, you do this, you do this, you do this. If you all do these things that I'm telling you, you're going to be amazing. And you're going to win championships. And they did. Ajax won the Champions League. And De Boer comes from that school. De Boer played for that team, played under Van Gaal. And when I asked him at his introductory press conference this season, like what coaches he draws inspiration from, those types of things, Van Gaal was, I think, the first name that he said, because it's a manager they played for 10 years. So it makes sense that he would be like this with these players, that he would be kind of, this is his style. And Michael Parkhurst has said as well, like, in practice, he gets very upset if there's a misplaced pass because he wants things done, executed to his standard. And so I think that that's going to push these players to be better. But I think that it's been, a learning process for both of them. I think they're sort of finding a good middle ground where, De Boer is kind of coming to their side. We saw in that Leander Sherleiken's article about how he lets them now do their like fun goof off thing before games, which he didn't like at first, but he understands that, if he wants their respect, he has to kind of let them have some freedom to do some of these things. So I think we're starting to find that middle ground.
And we wound back up the 3-5-2 where we where we probably should have started in the first place. But I mean, at least he's showing some flexibility and willingness to change his kind of ideas around the personnel he has. So I was a little worried at the beginning of the season because all the rumors had been like, he's just a 4-3-3 man. That's all he's going to do. But now having seen him adjust throughout the season, I feel pretty good about his coaching ability and willingness to be flexible. So
yeah. Can I put on my tinfoil hat real quick?
Sure. Yes.
So I have a theory now thinking about that with the Louis van Gaal connection, that the hashtag FDB out crowd are all salty
Manchester
fans.
United fans.
Yeah.
Oh
maybe.
yeah.
I do think there was a divide though when that Pitti stuff happened. I think there were people who were really taking PT's side, rightly so, in some cases, and maybe overreacting a little bit and saying like, "No, you have the best player in South America and he's not performing. It's FDB's fault."
Yeah.
So I think you had some of that, and then you had just people who like to stir the pot. And then you maybe had some small Man U fans.
But I mean, part of it is you are talking about three different cultures trying to interpret what each other is saying. You have a guy from Argentina, a guy from the Netherlands, and then you have the fans in the U.S. I mean, Dirty Bird person ATL Chris saying national media is trying to find are trying too hard to sensationalize some friction between PD and the fans when dude got a huge applause whenever he came in yesterday. That's something we talked about earlier, but I think some of it is fabrication. I mean, we started earlier on in the season whenever De Boer called the fans spoiled and everybody freaked out. And he's like, maybe it's just,
he says things like
that.
That
seems so long ago.
It's not so much even like you lose things in translation, but he also has such a flat affect to him whenever he talks. Like sure. he has, there's no intonation in anything he says.
He doesn't sound angry or that happy.
No, yeah. Disappointed dad, I guess, but We got a lot of those like disappointed Alpharetta dads
It's one of those
turning
pitfalls
around.
where, like, you want a guy to speak in English. You want, if he can speak another language, you want him to do that. Of course.
Yeah.
But it's like, these are the pitfalls, like this. And this is why a lot of these players don't want to speak in English, because if they may say something that gets picked up, not that I think that, the MLS Atlanta United media is this, like, is like the Daily Mail, who's going to like put,
but I do have a column where I essentially analyze every word he says, and yes, I will take things out of context gladly. A little unfair. I try to be fair and understand like where he's coming from and probably what he meant, and try to make light of the things that he maybe didn't mean. But again, I think Twitter, the Twitterverse, the people who liken themselves to soccer experts were probably more upset about PT. Whereas the general fan, I always got the sense is like they want him to come good. Yeah. They're just disappointed in his performance to that point. You could see it in the crowd. I mean, there was a very loud. I thought at first it was maybe for the guy coming off for him, but then it became very much a PT. Let's go, baby. We're putting in this player with 20 minutes to go. Let's do this.
I wanted to ask you guys just generally, about Pitti, like the crowd's reaction to Pitti, but just generally the vibe in the stadium in this DC United game, coming off that Houston game. It felt like a different kind of atmosphere to me.
It was weird. I felt like it was ruckus for a little while. I just felt it. I'm going to jump straight to the missed penalty. That sucked the life out of the stadium. I feel like it just got quiet. Like you can hear people talking for a while.
We've never seen anything like it.
No, it's weird.
That's true.
I've never seen a ball fly out of the stadium. It was unbelievable. I will say I went to games earlier and in the season, I'm a season ticket holder, and earlier in the season, there were times where we were passing it around and there were people around me going, "What is this? This is not the Atlanta United I know." But like at the last game, yes, there was some quiet times, but there was like real excitement. Like they had the foot on the pedal, and the fans were really into it, and everyone was doing the chants in my section. There were times during this season where people were like, "Hey, I don't want to do this." Yesterday was not that, but the shock from the Joseph penalty was a little much to take for anybody.
Everybody was so ramped up. It was like, this is going to win the game for us, and he never misses.
Yeah.
And then that happened.
And then some dude in front of me is trying to take a selfie as Joseph scores. That guy jinxed the whole thing.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. The other thing that you have the same sight lines as me too, right? So
behind the goal,
and we're a little further to the left, but sometimes like I hate it. I'm just gonna say like whenever I think a ball's gone in, and like the section starts going crazy, and then oh shit, no, it hit the post, or like that went out, or like it struck the side of the net.
Yeah.
Those can be exciting, and then just complete serotonin dumps.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely it wasn't Houston, right? Houston was just after that red card, like the entire game was extremely loud the entire time. But a party. But you're right. Yeah, there were a lot of people. There were a lot more people doing the Vamos chant and around our section, and then also the We Are the A chant. Like there was a lot more involvement than there had been earlier on in the season. So maybe it is trending in the right way. But
yeah, I mean, all I remember is people complaining about the passing it around. Like me as a dork soccer fan, I was like, man, look at those. Look at this possession. Look at that pass completion rate.
Killing the game.
Gosh, but all the fans are, come on, get it up to Joseph. But now I think they've really started to push the pedal to the metal with this 3-5-2. So,
let's see. Trying to see. Sorry, we've been so in depth. Somebody said it's weird that the trap's getting a little quiet because we were talking so much actual soccer and getting more in depth, and it's not as.
Can we talk about Jeezy's?
That was a little strange.
I saw the.
I rewatched the game today. So awkward.
Comes out and does the coin flip. With it?
Well, he did the coin flip, but then did you see what he did an interview during the game with Taylor Twellman and John Champion? And it was very awkward because I forget who asked him. One of them asked him if he played soccer growing up, and he goes, "No, I balled for real." And they've got the camera on him, and he like does this motion.
Oh my god!
and then there was like 3
ATL's
seconds
fine.
of silence, like no one knew what to say in response to that. Like, oh no.
At least with like Waka Flocka Flame, he's like, yeah, I love soccer. My daughter plays, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then you don't bring a guy on, just maybe do some pre-questions.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
Michelle says we need new chants. Not to start this, but
Oh.
I mean, I think about that, but like I listen, watching every MLS game, I hear our chants.
I have a take on this.
Whoa. Okay. Well, can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
10 years ago, I was a DC United season ticket holder, and I used to do these same chants. So yeah, they do get recycled, like especially the ones in Spanish, even.
I think definitely, like most especially, I feel like the ones in Spanish
and that's fine. But yeah,
they're South American, like a lot of them.
But trying to organically grow a chant, it's not as easy as like, here, pass out your sheets.
Yeah.
Or you want the whole crowd to do the get fucked up, do fucked up shit. Like
just for Doug.
I had never heard that actually like emanate from the supporter section on our side until I feel like they were doing that to spite Doug.
They might have been.
I seriously
I hate to
like
laugh, but
yeah.
About that, I'll get back to this, but that was like one of the hardest I've laughed in a long time was when not that I think that it was like right what when the supporters at the US Open Cup game started chanting "fuck you, Doug Roberson" or whatever it was that they chanted.
I didn't even.
But I was dying.
I didn't.
Did you not hear about this?
I did not hear.
So
about
Doug
this.
criticized them via a tweet. Said, criticized the fans for chanting, doing a chant that had the F-bomb in it.
Why? Yeah, I knew Doug's. I feel like he's been critical of that for a few years now.
Yeah,
It's
he's-
like,
he
do you
has-
guys
it's his
really
hobby
need to-
horse.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
do you really need to swear? And
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was funny, like he did that kind of like toward the end of the first half, and then I feel like everybody at halftime checked their phones, saw the tweet, and then they quickly organized and made a. I took it as like it was kind of lighthearted, and that's why I was laughing hysterically at it. But because I was sitting right next to Doug too, and it was amazing to see Doug's. When we were all just kind of watching the game, you kind of hear the fans in the background. You're not always like paying attention to like exactly what chant they're doing, but like I noticed Doug kind of staring at them, and then I was like, and the moment I kind of saw his face, like understand what was happening, it was glorious. And
What's your take on?
Doug,
What's
by the
your
way, but-
take on the chants, though?
Oh, so yeah, my take on the chants is I want.
Here we go.
I would love it if there were more chants to the tune of like American popular culture songs, like
Right. So like what the British did, like took
that's
popular
what
music.
all theirs is done.
and put new words to it.
And I would love songs about players, like they've got the Pitty Martinez, but like what about the one for Miles Robinson? Like that's an amazing song.
Is
It
there
could
a
be sung
song
so
with the
easily.
with the name Robinson in it? I've never heard it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
That
right there.
Yeah, it's definitely there. I mean, Old Town Road, they could take that, right? Classic like Old Town Road, and then the remix to Old Town Road,
The classical type, and then the remix.
and featuring Billy Ray Cyrus. I don't see why they couldn't do it. I didn't mean to like start something in the in the trap, like people getting upset about this.
No, I mean the chants are great right now, but it is
Yeah.
hard to inject a new one in.
Here's another problem I have is like every so I've said the Miles Robinson thing. The song can be as simple as "Here's to you, Miles Robinson. Jesus loves you more than you should know," and that's it. Like you don't need like two stanzas of very creative lyrics. Of course, it's kind of fun to come up with those on your own, to kind of just make a song. But for something that is going to be sung in the stands, it needs to be like one or two lines of just something very simple and repeatable.
Yeah. Let's see. What do we have in here? Brian Diefenbach says to the SGs, grow up, be more creative. I think those are maybe two different things. The creativity and the maturity, I guess. I don't know.
Start from Outcast songs and work from there.
Yeah.
A very good suggestion.
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't see why not. I mean, there's plenty of Atlanta music. Yeah. I mean, all genres.
Yeah.
I mean, you could take like the 3 Run the Jewels albums and make chants off of those. But to your point, I mean, most of those, I mean, I mostly know the Liverpool's player chants, and they're all like super short. Yeah. They're all like a couple lines, and that's it.
Just keep it simple. The simpler, the better. The more people can follow along.
Not
that I'm telling anybody what to do. I don't.
But that was your
See,
take,
flyer
your big take.
flyer flags.
How easy was this? Brian Reynolds says, I got the 5 stripes in the back. Yeah.
Oh my
There we
word,
go.
that's it.
Yeah, that's it. I like, how easy was
Except
that?
it's
Yeah.
9 stripes now.
And then Brittany S says, Golden Spikes is attached. I mean, you got, yeah.
Oh my, we're
Beginning
writing
of
it
a
right
song
now.
right here.
Yeah, we got it.
We're
I hope-
crowdsourcing this.
hopefully they're all listening. So I wanted to, going back to the DC game, I know we haven't really talked about the Houston game, but I think there's a lot to take away from the Houston game, but I think yesterday is just so fresh in my mind. Wanted to ask you guys, not to be too cheesy, who bottles more shots? Beam or Paul Arriola? Because I feel like we saw yesterday him in the box, the same thing he did the entire Gold Cup. Like he gets in the box, he gets away from people. He just can't do shit whenever he actually has a chance on goal.
DC had their chances to,
they
to
did.
score in that game. There was one where, geez, the guy could have had a shot on goal. I don't remember who it was. It may have been Arriola, and he tried to cut it back to somebody who was making a run into the box, and just an unnecessary, attempt to try to set up somebody in that case. But I was gonna say Joseph just because of the rum comments he's been making about drinking all the rum lately
And having a cigar.
Yeah,
You can tell the difference in quality. I mean, Arriola had a similar breakaway as Joseph. Joseph floats it over the keeper.
Dude, that chip was
I mean,
so
it's
smooth.
nasty.
Oh my
Arriola
Yeah.
hits it right. I mean, Guzan made an excellent save, but it was Arriola's to finish.
I just
And
want
he
somebody to do like a New York Post headlines, Arriola exposed, and it's him. No.
I got you.
Yeah. That's, that's like a British tabloid type headline.
Yeah,
I love it.
totally is.
or
Yeah,
New York
yeah.
Daily News or whatever.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah, New York Daily News, not the Post. I don't know. I don't read enough newspapers or any. The that chip that Joseph had was smooth though. Being able to beat Hamid like that off of his line, and that's one. I forgot to verify this. Was this the first time we beat Bill Hamid?
I don't remember. Would he have played for them last season when there was a game that Carlton started that Joseph Martinez had a hat trick in like last August? It was after the Barco suspension.
Somebody,
obviously.
we'll crowdsource that.
I don't
trivia,
know
too.
who started in goal for them that game.
But yeah, I mean that finish was smooth as hell. The pass from Petey though, I mean the quickness and the presence of mind to like turn like with his off foot too, mind you.
Yeah, you knew. I think Pitti kind of realized that DC had no choice but to play like uber aggressively in that moment to try to get a goal back. So he kind of was able to use that against them.
I do love Michelle asks, how tall is Acosta? Just curious. And Patrick Keenum says 1.1 Javinkos. He's itty bitty, man. Why is it always the little guys that annoy you so much? Him and Maxi Morales and Felipe and Javinko. And
I will say their center backs, because standing behind them, they are monsters.
huge. Yeah, they're big.
But this is a Joseph thing too, because I always view Joseph as this massive guy, the king.
Yeah.
But then he gets out there against these like 6'4" center backs, and he looks like a child.
Yeah.
Those guys were monsters, and that's why. I mean, if you look at the stats, you can see like there were like 33 clearances by DC.
Yeah.
That was a little off-putting how many crosses we were putting in with no success. But I mean, because I think Mira maybe was taking too much time on the wing and then crossing it in, and you're not going to get a good header against those dudes.
I think you have to give Ben Olsen a lot of credit for knowing that was going to be Atlanta's strategy based on what they did against Houston to go into that 3-5-2 and really put pressure on the wings, get those crosses in. And he put in those 3 huge center backs. That guy Pines, I don't know if he normally starts for them, but
I've never seen him.
I think he's like 6'5".
They found him in a penitentiary. And that dude is a giant.
Yeah, he's huge. And I thought that, it was probably a smart choice by them to kind of, let him just defend all those crosses. And they did it very well.
Yeah, it's one thing we could get annoyed as fans watching. Like, why do we keep bombing down the wings and putting crosses in? But nobody ever really does stop and give the other coach credit for actually like game planning for that, forcing that. I mean,
because he saw that Houston game and was like, okay, Gressel was dominating.
Yeah.
That's what they work in from the wings, quick in transition. If we clog up the middle, we can win this game.
And Gressel like hardly got any. He didn't get obviously nearly the amount of crosses off in the game against DC. Of course, it helps playing against, or it's harder playing against 11 men. But I thought they really had a clear strategy to not let him beat them, not let those crosses come in from Julian.
Yeah. It was also weird that typically whenever I feel like whenever we don't have success against DC, they press us pretty hard. I feel like they're constantly putting pressure on us, like as soon as we get the ball to our feet. And I didn't feel that yesterday. I felt like they played back.
Oh yeah,
the entire
for sure.
time.
They really sat back, and I've been thinking about this a lot recently too. Is like, what team is going to come into Mercedes-Benz Stadium and like try to play on the front foot? I think we have seen one team, the Chicago Fire of all teams, came in, and I thought they played like they just tried to play their game toe to toe, try to attack. And it was a game that had a ton of chances. Atlanta ended up winning 2-0, but Chicago could have had a goal or two for sure. Like they had
5.
Yeah, yeah, or 5.
Yeah, it's just a smart strategy to do what teams do. In
it is.
Even if you have great personnel, why not?
Right. I mean, Atlanta has shown that it's the hardest thing that it's kind of their weakness, their Achilles heel. So why not do it? But it rubs me the wrong way because I feel like the fans that come and pay money are not getting to see the optimal product. It's like they're not seeing the best of what this team can give. And I feel like last year we got to see a lot of those exciting games on the road because the home team, when we're on the road, the home team kind of has an impetus to come out and play those games toe to toe.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for whatever reason, Atlanta has just been god awful on the road this year.
Well, that's not good for Friday because that is going to be a wide open game, I imagine.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it'll be really interesting.
LAFC.
They're without El Munir.
Yeah,
after
broken face.
Yeah, broke his.
Out with
I can't remember the technical fracture that he got, but yeah, he's just
orbital bone.
Doctor.
Yeah, don't we have a doctor?
Yeah. PK, what's the diagnosis? That fracture. It's a fracture at the temple. It's not. I don't think it's the orbital. It's I think it's the bone right outside, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, just dented in.
It's crazy.
It's brutal. Yeah.
Even you could just see there was it's like literally like a
temple
dent.
dimples. Yeah. Before we get on to the LAFC game, I do want to play this from Kevin, who can't be here today.
First time caller. Just wanted to tell you guys, great job. Show hasn't even started yet, but I know it is in the best possible hands. So excited to tune in live on my drive back. And a reminder to everybody listening, phone lines are always open. And if you don't call us, call somebody you love, call somebody you care about, and remind them that you do. Remember, life's too short not to. And
is that it?
That's it.
Is he okay?
I must have cut off.
Oh, that wasn't it.
take care. See you next week.
All right.
Okay. Getting a little
beautiful.
dusty in here.
See that someone play that for Pitti and DeBoer. I mean, get them back together. Life's too short for these things, these skirmishes.
But then that pause at the end would get misinterpreted on both sides.
It's true.
Right. Exactly.
Actually, go back to Houston. What do you guys take away from that game, other than we still got it?
Well, at the time, it's funny. At the time when it happened, I was actually surprised to hear Jason Longshore, fellow media member,
the Godfather.
Yeah, the Godfather of American,
the Maester
of Atlanta soccer. He was kind of saying that like there's not really a lot that you could take away from it tactically, but that was kind of like one of my bigger takeaways was that the 3-5-2 was going to be very effective, and it obviously the 5-0 score line, that's not an accurate reflection of the quality of the two teams or whatever. But I just thought even just seeing the game, seeing the way that the team was exploiting those wide spaces, it reminded me so much of Tata Martino's teams. Just like when you're in the press box, because you see the game differently from up there.
Yeah, I mean, you just grow more intelligently every second.
But you can probably understand this because you're right over that corner, right? Mm-hmm. And like Tata Martino's teams would always be in that little channel right in the corner.
People running this
Gressel
way
and Tito day. And there would be tons of runs in there and lots of crosses coming in. And that's what I saw like in that Houston game for the first time. Like I had not really seen the team kind of try to exploit those spaces before. So I thought that the 3-5-2 was going to be, an effective option. I think it kind of proved itself against DC, but
I think if
it still work, we don't know yet for sure. But
I think if a red card's going to happen and it happens to a forward, I think there's more that you can take away from it than if like they lost the starting center
Right.
back or something
Yeah.
to that effect. I mean, they lost Albert Elise. I mean, what did they lose? Maybe a goal.
Yeah, and
against
he
us?
was their starting striker in that game, so
Right,
it's not even
exactly.
like they were losing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and not just that, they had actually showed on the Halo board. I think over the past 3 or 5 away matches, they'd been outscored 15-3 or 15-4. So it's not like it's not like they really had cards. I mean, the cards were stacked against them to come into that game.
And the minute that red card happened, I was like, oh boy, here we go. Because in the past, especially against I think it was Red Bulls, they got a red card. They bunker back, and it's often have hard time breaking that down. But to be able to see them break it down, pass through the middle, 1-2s, kicking it out wide, they were doing exactly what you need to do when people are bunkering, and that was great to see.
Yeah, so it's funny to think back to this because this kind of shows how much can happen in a week. But I remember when that red card happened, I turned to Sam Jones, who sits next to me, and I was like, if they lose this game or if they don't win this game, like there's going to be major pressure on DeBoer.
Yeah,
like,
it was DeBoer out.
Yeah,
at that second,
yeah,
I was like, and I've seen
if if they were not able to manage to get a win, basically almost playing an entire game up a man, that would have been super bad.
And I think it would have been unfair for the reasons you stated. That was a forward taken out. I mean, they still were able to bunker.
you're
and
right.
It's hard to score against.
That's why it came into my mind because the team had lost against Red Bulls. Did they lose that game or no? They drew.
No, we lost.
Did we lose that
I
game?
think it was 1-0
on the road.
They played like a half against 10 men.
Yeah, the kid with the prep school name.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
he scored that.
Brian White.
Yeah,
or no, Barlow.
Barlow.
Tom Barlow.
It's something Barlow.
Old Tom Barlow. Yeah,
maybe that's not so prep school.
Like that.
Patrick Keenum again with the
here we go.
The doctor speak. It was a temporal fracture of the skull, so that the nasty hit can cause significant nerve damage, also high risk of bleeding. Yikes! So maybe they are. Somebody did mention lifetime ban in the chat earlier. I don't know if they are considering that, but I don't know. I don't have faith in this league and their disciplinary process.
No, especially with Zlatan. No,
I mean, if Kaku gets away with three matches with 1 game served, then. And that guy's still having
and he seriously injured a fan. Yeah,
and the guy's having what do they call those after the earthquake?
Like
the tremors.
aftershock.
Aftershock and tremors afterwards.
Yeah,
it's like good God. Somebody has mentioned Guzan goalkeeper of the year. So this brings me back to the Alec Can thing. We're in the secondary transfer window, right? We're still in the secondary transfer window.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why haven't we traded him for Tam or Gam at this point?
Who?
Alec Can.
Alec Can?
Because he's. I mean, I've seen worse keepers right now starting in this league.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know, and
you always need a good backup keeper. Honestly, in a long season like this, you never know.
Yeah,
maybe that's why.
It seems like they have confidence in this Brendan Moore, I think is his name.
Yeah, Brendan.
The first names are always tricky. I think they have confidence in him, but yeah, and if they do, you would think that would give them even more license to kind of, be willing to deal a guy like Alec Can, who could probably help some teams. But yeah, who knows? I'm fascinated that Atlanta United still seemingly has like Tam and Gam to shell out for people like Mo Adams and stuff. Because I feel like this team is just constantly.
They got a Tam mine, a Gam mine. Yeah, I don't know where they get it from, or we just lose track of it.
And we still have a couple.
Track.
We still have a couple international slots we can fill right now, right?
Yeah,
because of green cards.
Yeah, I don't think international slots are really an issue.
Which is crazy. Right now. That's been
because we got rid of Anderson Asaidu, and then
yeah. I mean, you would think like Atlanta is probably known as being like one of the more internationally based, playing staffs in all the league.
Dirty Bird person saying, "I've been waiting on that Nagby goal forever. I can't believe we haven't talked about this. I mean, that is one thing to take away from that Houston game is he finally got on the score sheet, and I feel like you could just see the elation on his face. Like, it was nice to see that guy finally get one in the back of the net.
It was a nice goal, beautiful.
Yeah,
and in classic Nagby fashion, he was like shocked after the game that people wanted to talk to him. Like, he was like getting dressed, he was like putting on his deodorant or whatever. He like turned around, like a bunch of people are standing there. He's like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" Like, we want to talk to you about the goal. Like, oh, okay.
Has Breck Shea wheeled into the locker room to like do the telephone, like the because he and Nagby are good friends, right? It seems like at least it seems like he and Nagby are
in the post-match photos. They're always doing shenanigans in the back.
Yeah, I haven't seen him since his injury. It was really sad.
I think it's really he must be laid up from surgery or something.
Yeah, after his injury, I saw it because the injury happened when they were on the road in Seattle, and then I saw when back at the training ground like early the next week. I saw his Jeep there. And I was like, very sad. I
No.
wonder if he ever drove that. I wonder if his Jeep was still parked there from
No
the
more
trip they went out.
off-roading for
You know,
now.
it's funny. It's like you don't know what you got till it's gone. I did know what we had. And I tried to tell you guys that there are not that many good left backs in MLS. Brittany S saying, I don't know why they let go of Wild. Did we release Gordon Wild?
Yep. They
You
let him
gone.
go. They let him out in the wild.
Wait,
That was a
that was a
Payson.
Paysoninho special.
Payson.
I just see Gordon Wild like wandering the forests of Georgia.
Yeah, I don't. Man, it sucks to not.
Well,
have-
and
Did he ever
there
make-
was a
did
funny
he ever
quote
make a
today.
first team appearance? I don't know.
Where FDB literally said in the quotes like, "Yeah, we got to stick with 3-5-2 because we just don't have any left backs at all." And we were thinking of poor Mikey Ambrose.
It was
Here's
on the
that he's
bench.
like, "Hey, coach."
You know, Mikey Ambrose is a right wing back, I thought.
I mean,
Yeah.
but we've played him in the left.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
the
but
only
it's-
time Frank DeBoer played him in the beginning of the season, he played him at right wing
Yeah,
back
and that
against
was a
Columbus in a
struggle.
monsoon.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was telling Sam, clearly nobody has told DeBoer that Mikey is like a Boy Scout, which is how Tata described him. Always ready.
He's always ready.
Always ready.
Yeah. Where's Kevin Kratz at?
Apparently he's coming back soon. He's had an injured calf. I think it's been just like a lingering calf issue for a long time, but
It's a lot of
I've-
players injured.
me and Doug Roberson have been speculating that like you might as well just put him on the injured list and open up a roster spot. But I think
why
that,
not?
Like when we asked DeBoer about it, he seems to be saying like, "Oh yeah, he's close to returning."
He said, "Who do you expect me to replace him with? Andrew Carlton?"
By the way, speaking of Carlton, I saw the picture of him being as the ball boy for the unified game, and like some people were like, "Oh, look at him! He's like, this is how low on the totem pole he is. He's the ball boy." Like that was great. I thought
No,
it was
that's
great.
awesome.
he needs to
Yeah.
be, yeah, he should be doing stuff
He needs
like
to be
that.
doing
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely needs to be doing stuff like that. LAFC on Friday, right?
Mhm.
In LA, 10:00 kick.
MLS After Dark.
MLS After Dark.
After dark. I don't know if I'm scared going into that game watching what LA Galaxy were able to do to them. I mean, their defense looked shaky. Granted, I mean, Zlatan had a couple. He had 3 goals, obviously, but 2 of them were pretty outstanding finishes, especially the one. But it gives me a little more confidence. I know they have the best goals against record right now in the league. Right? I think we're second or we're third, maybe. I think we're third to NYCFC and LAFC, but NYCFC played like 10 games less than us at this point. But,
Okay.
I don't understand that. NYCFC's played like
Yeah, it's crazy.
16, 17 games, something
No,
like
they've
that.
played more than that, but like they've played like a considerable amount less than everybody else,
Yeah.
and I don't know why. I don't
Yeah,
know
they weren't in
because they weren't.
CCL.
Yeah, right. Exactly. They haven't been in other competitions that other teams aren't in. I don't get
Yankee
it.
Stadium.
Oh,
schedule
maybe
protocols,
that's
I
it.
don't know.
That's probably it. Anyway, I think the LAFC game is yeah. I mean, obviously it'll be fun to watch. Two attractive teams, but
Yeah.
the thing about LAFC is like they're so aggressive in the way they hunt down the ball when they don't have it. They come after you, and so I wonder how Atlanta is going to deal with that. And I think that like playing with the 3 at the back, I think that I thought it helped them at times against DC United. It helped like draw DC out, like to come get the ball because they were just kind of passing it around the back. DC comes out, and then they find the gaps to exploit. They found Nagby and Emerson Hyman, but especially Nagby found quite often he was able to like get the ball in the half turn in midfield, and then he was just able to run into open space, And so I do wonder if Atlanta will try to find those similar patterns of play to get Nagby into those spaces, to get, find that space that they can run into in the attack.
I will say I'm worried. The few changes we gave up yesterday were, especially with the Areola one, you have Nagby make an uncharacteristic giveaway in the middle of the field, and LAFC thrives on creating those kind of giveaways. And then you have playing a ball through, I imagine to Carlos Vela, just like you did with Areola. I think we're going to have to worry about that. Just make sure you're not going to give away the ball on the press. Be careful with the possession. Same things FTB always says, but it's even more important with a team this good on the break. And so we'll see.
Yeah, it's a team that that play style, that pressing, hunting play style is what has kind of been our weakness in years past. But it's also one, if you're sharp, you can expose that because you get those guys overcommitting, and if you're sharp on those passes and opening up those lanes, you can create chances after chance for.
And Emerson is him and Joseph are working 1-2s. Those guys are the guys in the midfield are working 1-2s with Joseph all the time, and so I think we're more capable of breaking down that press now than we were a couple weeks ago. So,
and I think that when we had Tata Martino, I think we saw ourselves kind of get at that point where we were exposed when we tried to over pursue and trying to win the ball back high up the field and left gaps in behind. So I think that I think Atlanta fans of all fans would kind of understand the risks that come with kind of that approach to the game.
Yeah, definitely. What do you guys see in terms of lineup? In any changes coming into Friday's game? Do you see Vasquez getting dropped for PD?
Yeah.
I think that's pretty unanimous.
And DeBoer said in the post match why change was working. So I think it's going to be a 3-5-2 with Pitti in for Vasquez.
Yep.
Miram still playing left wing back?
No, I think you'll probably see like Dion probably come in. I think it seems like those two are just going to be rotating there until Bellows back. Probably.
Man, he's so smooth on the ball. Dion Pereira.
Oh, Dion. Yeah.
He's good.
His footwork's great.
He's silky.
Dion.
He's got great work ethic, work rate, and everything on the field too. I really like that guy. I feel like he's like a steal that we were able to get from Watford.
Yeah, good kid too. He gives. I don't know if this is like the thing now, but like I notice when I shake hands with young people, it's like
gives you some dap.
They do like it's like the weakest possible handshake. It looks like they're coming in for like a, I don't know,
he's trying to give you one of these.
Trying to give you dap.
No, but he's not. But he's not. It's a handshake. It's clearly a handshake. I'm making the motion. It's clearly a handshake. And
what these kids,
Frank DeBoer talked about it. He called him out. He's apparently he told Dion, he was like, you need to have a stronger handshake.
That's a very Dutch move.
Yeah. I don't think you could. Nothing's getting lost in translation there whenever you're talking. Do you guys have score predictions for Friday? Are you allowed to give score predictions?
Yeah.
Why not?
We'll probably lose.
You think so?
I mean, we'll probably lose.
2-1. I'm thinking we lose.
2-1?
2-1.
Yeah, we lose.
I'll say 3-1.
Wow.
The road form has been bad. It's been bad.
It has been.
3-7 or 3-8 on the road right now. Against the best team in MLS.
It's not great, but I will say for once, Kevin, games in hand helped us out. We're a game in hand on DC. We got second place. We have a game in hand still on Philly, and we're only 3 points behind Philly.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
39-36 right now, and we would have the wins tiebreaker over them if whenever we make that game up if we win. I don't have a ton of confidence that we're going to win this game. I think they're probably going to be. I think it's going to be. Obviously, it's got to be better than the Chicago game, right?
Yeah.
There's no.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like us against Houston. That was like a very similar. You're playing most of the game down to man.
3-1 scoreline seems to be popular.
I actually do kind of like Elliot
3-3,
Beavens. I kind of like Elliot Beavens 3-3. Like that's kind of that would be like
I can see that
game of the season.
I can see that
just
too.
Super open, super crazy.
Couple Sports Center highlights.
Yeah.
Two best defenses in MLS. Both give up 3 goals.
Because you're going against Carlos Vela and Joseph Martinez.
But honestly, I think these teams they may have the best defenses, but they haven't played each other. They haven't played against the quality that each other have. So who knows?
Well,
how they hold up.
LAFC obviously shown they can be taken advantage of last week. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to be optimistic, but you're playing. It's going to be insane.
I'm not expecting anything. Yeah, I'm not expecting points. But if we get any,
I would love to get 1 point.
Yeah,
if 3, that would be an absolute steal.
We talked about it last show, but the stretch we have pretty much for the rest of the season, our schedule is
insane,
brutal.
Yeah,
it is brutal.
LAFC, Galaxy, Open Cup. Oh, well, there's an all-star game.
There's an all-star game, and squeezed in there. Yeah, Open Cup.
Yeah, we have what do we have? 5 all-stars or 4 all-stars? It's Joseph, PD, LGP, Guzan, and Did Barco get selected too?
I don't think he did.
I don't think so.
I want to say we had 5.
Maybe he did.
Am I thinking?
Maybe he did. I'm not sure.
I know Miles Robinson didn't, and it really upset me.
Derek is saying 5.
Best, Derek Rushing with 5. Best defender in all of MLS doesn't make the damn ballot. I'm not crazy, right? He is the best center back right now in MLS, right? Is there a
One
better
of.
is there a better center back right now? 1-on-1, just no like who can stop
Yeah,
and
just-
defend the way that Miles
He's the-
Robinson
I
does.
think
his
he's the best
one-on- his
one-on defender, yeah.
defending is probably the best.
Yeah, Barco did make
Did he?
the
Okay.
All-Star team.
And just his
cool.
ability to take a ball out of the air and just chested to somebody. So, Miles Robinson.
Yeah.
He's so beautiful back there.
yeah. I will say LGP showed some pace yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, except
Getting
when
back
he
with
said
Acosta.
he called out Gazan like, "Come get the ball." Oh,
God.
Yeah. After the game, someone asked Guzan about it, and he was like, "If he thinks I'm not fast to come out and get that, someone's gonna have to like show him the game film of how
Yeah,
fast I am."
Guzan is
'cause I'm-
slow.
LAFC, LA Galaxy. This is just league games. NYCFC, Portland,
NYCFC and
Portland.
Portland.
At Portland though, and
Ouch.
Portland
Yeah.
they're such a weird team. Like
Yeah.
they're so up and down.
Yep.
At Orlando, who I hate to say are looking decent right
Yeah, they
now.
are.
At Philly, #1 in the East, and then we get a break against Columbus at home, and then at Cincinnati.
Yeah, there's our break. But
San
You gotta win
Jose.
6
Talk
points.
about another team that's turning around. San Jose. We have
turn around. They're the hottest team in the league.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
telling someone I was looking at the list of the odds to win MLS Cup, and I think if I could only make one bet, I would put it on San Jose. They were 20-1. That's pretty good odds. Obviously, I don't think they're the favorites to win.
No,
the
no,
favorites
yeah.
are LAFC, but if like for the
It's a good
money,
bet. It's a
yeah,
good
for
bet.
the best
People don't
odds,
understand odds.
in a one-off in the new playoff format.
I hate to say it, preseason, I think DC United had bad odds, and I was putting all my money on them. But
Yeah.
I'm sorry to admit that.
Old season ticket holder.
I've changed my
torn at all?
allegiances. Not at all.
Yeah. Okay. That's
no,
what
no,
I like
no.
to hear.
I didn't have a team. There was no team in Atlanta at the time. What can I
Right.
say?
Right.
Yeah.
I always kind of pulled for DC too. Just like I didn't
It's the
really. I
closest
didn't,
team
I
to us,
wasn't-
right?
they were.
Yeah. Geographically.
Yeah.
I just could not get an MLS. For whatever reason, I'd watch it.
I got into it because I was in
I
the
wasn't
supporters
very into
groups section, getting beer thrown on me in my 20s. Yeah, I was in. But was I watching it on TV? No. But
Yeah.
now I am. Now I'm obviously.
Yeah.
Especially
about it.
ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
It makes it
Huge.
so much easier. That is ESPN Plus is the steal of all steals, and I hope they don't go the Netflix model. Like, oh, we just bumped it up $1.
Yeah.
and then $1.
I'm sure it
and then
will,
$1,
but
and then $1, and then
milking
$1,
it
and then
while
$1.
it's cheap.
Yeah, Kendrick Brock said I'm a Euro snob. That's why I couldn't get
True,
an MLS. It's
true.
very true. I only watch Turkish League, Superliga. No, that's my jam.
And I
I
see
don't like-
Portland was my casual team. I think, I would have chosen Portland too. Just their fan culture is so cool.
Yeah.
And, just the city is so fun to visit. So you ever go over there, have a few craft beers and watch the game.
I would love to do more traveling. I'm so jealous of Kevin, who like every time I see him on Twitter or whatever, it's like looks so awesome.
I don't know if you know. Do you know Kevin Brown? Have you ever met Kevin Brown or
No, I've seen him on
I haven't,
Twitter.
met,
but-
I haven't
Yeah.
met him in person. I would love to.
Oh, he's a fantastic
Yeah.
gentleman. He works as a flight attendant for Southwest, so he goes
Oh, okay.
to every single.
so you can
away
get
game.
that the free seat.
Yeah, I'm very jealous.
I'm willing to work for the airlines to do that.
But yeah, it's really cool. It gives us a lowdown on all the different away cultures.
Columbus?
Yeah,
Off the chain.
no. I'll tell you,
Maybe when school's in session.
Bridgeport. Yeah, that's where it's at. Isn't
They're
there?
going
No,
to
I
be playing in. They're going to be playing Soldier Field next year, apparently.
I think it's Bridgeview too.
Or
We
Bridgeview,
can't even
sorry,
remember.
not Bridgeport.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a suburb of Chicago.
Yeah.
But they are. Yeah, there's a Sydney found a cached.
I took a nap.
Release.
I took a nap this afternoon, and I saw all this whole Chicago.
They're apparently moving to Soldiers Field. Who knows whether that'll work or not? I think it's a good short-term move.
Yeah.
I don't see why not. Well, granted, like the complaints I always hear that the reason people don't get to the games with Chicago is because it's so far out, and then same with like Dallas, like
Yeah.
getting out. to-
Dallas, I used to have to travel there. That stadium is ungodly distance from Dallas
Really?
proper.
Frisco, right?
It's so far away.
Is that where it is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy north of the city.
yeah.
So I
Yeah,
mean,
'cause
I
that's
don't
like-
blame.
yeah.
No family from Dallas would ever venture out there.
the Bridgeview one's really bad too. I went there for a Tottenham preseason game. I was in Chicago, and we did the pub to pitch thing where they have like a shuttle, like a bus that takes you, like a charter bus that takes you from like
you fell asleep halfway there, right?
No, I wish I had. It would have gone by fast.
They give you
The
a ghost
trip would have
tour?
gone by faster, but no.
No ghost tour.
It was
That's
just
disappointing.
it took forever, and it was such like a long ordeal to just get there. Just the travel logistics. It was
Yeah.
not fun. So hopefully it works out better for them in Soldier Field. But
Just the fact that I can hop on MARTA, get off.
yeah,
I mean, you're right at the
it's
tailgate.
huge.
Gosh,
That's
we
one
have
thing.
such a great stadium situation.
Garber's spot on about like all these new stadiums have to be in city centers because this whole thing about building them in the suburbs is just it's not it.
Yeah. Austin. I'm guessing that's going to be downtown.
I think it is.
They
somewhere
open
down-
up next year
somewhere in the
or
city.
2 years? 2021 or 2020?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I'm confused. I don't remember like the inaugural seasons for Nashville, Miami.
Well, Miami will move again, probably.
Yeah.
That field, man.
But I believe Nashville's next year, and then that'll be our
Did
Nashville.
Nashville
rival.
finally get their stadium like fully squared away?
I'm not sure. I have no
if
idea.
they're playing on that baseball field again, that's
You're
going to
asking
be
the wrong guy.
I remember going to
pretty.
preseason.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
they'll be there. I don't think they'll be there.
I hope not. Yeah. And they close it out. 6,000 in Soldier Field will look much better. To Kendrick Brock's point. Yeah. Did you guys see?
They might close off the top, I guess, like
Yeah.
they do with us, but
Did you
that's
guys-
still not going to look good.
Did you guys see those comparative attendance numbers? NWSL versus some of the MLS teams.
No,
they
I
were
didn't.
crazy. It was way higher than Chicago Stars.
Yeah, there were
Than the
two.
Fire.
There were two.
Really?
Yeah, there were two NWSL teams that outdrew like Columbus. I think got outdrawn. And then because there were two games that drew, I think I want to say 16,000 around
Mm.
there.
Wow.
That's
And
a good
then-
draw.
Yeah.
I don't know why we saved the Crew, guys. I mean, they can't fill up
I
that
know.
that stadium. I don't understand.
I kick
I mean,
myself for it.
I
every
hate
day.
I hate the fact that I was one of those guys like, meh, teams move. And everyone was like, oh, how dare you? And now you look, it's like, man, they got 3 people in the stands.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. It's not history from the 90s, okay, guys? Sorry.
and I was totally wrong about Austin. At least going in, right? They sold out season tickets in like 3 hours or some shit.
Oh,
like,
did
some
they really?
like it was all in the first day. I want to say they sold their season tickets.
And I can understand the skepticism when you look at like FC Dallas. Okay, they're in the suburbs, but then the Dynamo are in downtown Houston and they don't draw either. So you're like, oh man, Texas.
It's just so
Yeah.
hot there,
But
man.
it's Houston. I mean, it's Austin. It's got, young people, hipsters, soccer fans generally.
It's like Atlanta worked, Portland worked, Seattle works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I thought it would work, but yeah, I mean, obviously the Columbus Crew are part of the MLS, but they need to fix something there in terms of getting crowds back. It's
Yeah.
just a lot of these original teams. I think they just need to rebuild that excitement in a way. These expansion teams, they can rebrand, come into a city, create excitement in a way that they can't.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's totally true.
yeah. All right, go ahead and wrap this up. I say we're over. I just whatever it goes over.
Yeah.
Tell the people where they can find you, Payson. Where they can
They
find.
can find me.
I was really hoping to play that My Girl clip if you came in with your contacts on. That's still one of my favorite like things I've ever seen on Twitter. Like I was like legitimately cackling. Like
Well, you can find me at Paysonino at Twitter. My Twitter game is dad jokes and occasional real jokes. And I also write a Dirty South Soccer. I write a column called D's Nuggets. Just going really in depth and analytical into how
Really
but
in-depth.
seriously, I hate it, the fact that I named it that because I try to take this
Yeah,
column
it is.
seriously.
It is a serious.
And I do analyze what he says and talk about the team a little bit. But it's called D's Nuggets. It's our Dirty South DirtySouthSoccer.com.
and Joe, where can they find you? Not just there, but elsewhere.
JA Patrick 200 on Twitter. You can subscribe to the podcast. My podcast is 5 Star Final. It's on if you search for Dirty South Soccer on wherever you search for podcasts, it should pop up. You can subscribe to us there and read Dirty South Soccer. Read J. Sam Jones's recaps of games. They're very good. I know recaps are on lots of times you want to just not read them because you went to the game or whatever, what happened. Read his recaps. They're very, very good.
He's got
And
good
they'll make you
jokes.
laugh.
He's
too.
got video. He's got quotes. It's all there.
The whole shebang. And then 92.9.
Oh yeah,
Atlanta
I
Braves.
work for 92.9. I cover the Braves. Yeah. So
If you're a Braves fan,
This is
check it out.
crossover, right?
yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in. However you did find us, whether on YouTube, on iTunes, Stitcher, whatever, wherever you are, Pocket Casts and all that good stuff. If you guys would be so kind, leave us a rating and or a review on iTunes or Stitcher. We will read it aloud on the show. This feels weird. I don't normally close the show out. Kevin does this, so I will leave it short. You guys can find us on social media at Home Before Dark. That's B and the number 4. And then every Monday night, 8:00 on YouTube. Tune in, join the trap, and get in on the shenanigans. And as always, I don't ever get to say this. As always, be home before dark. There we go.